I made $10,000 with sports betting because of a few principles that I'm going to share with you in this video. So, I'll let you in on a little secret. Sports betting isn't about who wins. It's about something far simpler, but it's just subtle. Most beginners miss it. Imagine a book posts plus 250 on an underdog, but you've crunched the numbers and know the true odds should be closer to plus 180. At plus 250, the implied probability is just 28.6%, but at plus 180, it's about 35.7%. That gap, that's your edge. So when you bet at plus 250, you're basically getting overpaid. And that's what a positive EV bet looks like. Now don't get it twisted. You're still riding an underdog. And you're probably going to take losses more often than not. But that's the thing. It's not about who wins. It's about whether the odds are wrong. So say you throw $100 on that line across 10 games and only hit 4. That's $1,000 back on $600 in losses, giving you a profit of $400. And this is the part sportsbooks hate. Because the second you start stacking those wins, you're not fueling their bottom line anymore. You're cutting into it. And before you know it, you're making big bucks. Now, if you want to skip the endless trial and error and see exactly how I hit my first $1,000, I shared everything in my blueprint, which you can grab in the description below. Or if you're watching on TV, just click this QR code right here. But if you want to figure it out all on your own, you need to know where to find those positive EV bets. And I'm going to be real with you. It's going to be a scavenger hunt, because you won't find it looking into one or two sports books and calling it a day. Value only shows up when you can compare prices across multiple books. And when I say multiple, I'm talking like 15, 30, even more than 40 books. Lucky for you, there's a tool called OddsJam, and it basically does all the hard work for you. It scans all the sports books and spots good lines. But I'm gonna be honest, it's not always going to be perfect. Some days, you're still gonna lose, even when you see a line that's plus EV on paper. That's just how the game works. So, what do you do when that happens? Well, it comes down to having this. You gotta ask yourself, how much am I willing to bet comfortably? Whatever it is, that number's your emotional bankroll, aka basically your baseline. That's your system. So, if your bet makes your palms sweat, you've crossed the line. And the moment you cross it, your brain switches from comfort to survival mode, which is one step closer to tilting. And that's where this next step comes in. See, most bettors guess how much to bet each time. $50 here, $100 there, and then they wonder why their results are all over the place. But there's actually a math formula that tells you exactly how much to bet to grow your bankroll faster and safer. It's called the Kelly criterion. In September, I started testing out the Kelly criterion calculator inside OddsJam. You just enter your bankroll, the odds, and how much edge, like expected value, the bet has. The calculator then tells you the perfect bet size, and this is the amount that maximizes your profit while managing risk. I went through an unlucky streak. I lost a few days in a row and thought it wasn't working, but I stuck with it. By the end of the month, I finished up $4,410.56. All from following positive EV bets using Kelly sizing. So here's my advice. Use Kelly or flat units. Both work, but Kelly adjusts bet size based on your edge. Then, start small. I recommend using 1/4 Kelly. It's safer and reduces risk during losing streaks. Also, watch for weird edges, meaning if you see a bet that looks too good, like 30% plus EV, it might be a data glitch. So don't go all in. Instead, size down. And lastly, stay consistent. Keep using OddsJam to calculate your bet sizes and find positive EV bets. That's the only way for you to see monthly profit like this. So if you're interested in getting the same results, go ahead and join our private community, because on top of sharing our strategies, we also keep each other accountable. That way, no one can fall off the rails. The link's in the description if you're interested, or you can scan right here. But okay, you're probably thinking, sounds good, Luke, but how much should my starting bankroll be? Good question, and it's understandable if you're just starting out. So, let me break it down for you. Let's say you've got a 5% edge, and you're betting 1 to 2% of your bankroll per play, and you're using a tool like OddsJam, which runs about $200 a month. Now you can choose from these 3 tiers. At tier 1, you have the $1,000 bankroll. At 2% per bet, you're making $1 per play with a 5% edge. So you have to place 200 bets just to break even after tool costs. And honestly, you're better off getting a normal job, stacking some cash, and coming back with a real bankroll. Which brings us to tier 2, a $3,000 bankroll. And this is the bare minimum for me if you don't want to be glued to your screen, firing off 10 plus bets a day. You won't get rich, but it allows you to level up your skills without risking too much money on each bet. That's why the sweet spot for me is Tier 3, a $5,000 starting bankroll. At this point, your tools are already paying for themselves, and you get a solid ROI on your time. But don't get ahead of yourself just yet, because getting to $10,000 doesn't happen overnight. Man, when I first started betting, I thought I was crushing it. Then one night, I got curious and actually added it all up. Turns out, I was down more than $900. And after a night of spiraling, that's when it hit me. Just because a bet looks good doesn't mean it is. So, if you're not tracking your numbers, you're just guessing at that point, which is honestly a gamble you don't want to take. Luckily, you don't need anything fancy. A Google Sheet works, or something like Juice Reel, Pickit, or the built-in Odds Jam tracker. And here's the rule of thumb. If you're beating the closing line like 70% of the time, you're finally on the right side of the math. If not, well, just make sure you don't make the mistake I made once. So picture this. Pro pickleball circuit. Alex Crum versus Federico Stocksrud. Everyone knows that Federico's a beast. He's the #1 seed after all. So I did what any sane person would do, and I placed my bets on Stocksrud. I was so confident in the favorite, because I knew there was no way I was going to lose. And just to prove it, I put too much money on the table, like a newbie going all in. So, after 3 games, the score was 11-9. I was holding my breath. Then it dropped the second, and I was at the edge of my seat already. When it closed out to 11-6, I just stared at my screen. What the heck just happened? I'll tell you what. The underdog won, and my bankroll disappeared. So after that game, I said, enough is enough. Confidence is nothing if you're not following the math. And now you know, the secret to $10,000 isn't that hard. Just follow these guidelines, and you'll be one step closer to your goals. But I'll do you one better. You can steal my exact system. I used to go from $0 to $10,000, and I lay everything down in this next video. So, check it out.